Okay, let's talk about what we need to do in the software for this all to work together. Um, let's start by going to our preferences in Live. Okay, so we're going to go to audio and then audio input device. Now, if you have an audio interface, you're going to see it here. So input is Quartet. I could also actually use my webcam as an input because it has a little microphone built into it. Now that's USB, and it's farther away, so it's going to be a cheap microphone that's going through a cheap converter. Um, so I wouldn't want to do that unless I'm just trying to record some sound quick, and I don't care about the quality of it. This is going to be the higher quality. So let's leave that. So what I've got for that to work is I can go to this input config. So this tells me all my possible inputs, okay? Now anything that's yellow, I've turned on. So I have channels 1 and 2 turned on. So that means that these are my first and second channels on the Quartet, my Apogee unit, and they're both turned on. Okay, and I think I can name them here. Yeah, but I don't need to. I also have them turned on again, the same two inputs as a stereo input. Now what that means is that I can record individually channels 1 and 2 separately, or I can record them at the same time as a single stereo track. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute. Well, actually, let's talk about that now. So if I'm recording something like just my voice, I would want to record that as a single microphone on a mono track because it's just one thing. But if I was recording like a, a drum set, for example, and I wanted to do it as quickly as possible, I might just put two mics overhead of the drum set to record the entire sound of the drum set. It's not a great way to record a drum set, but it'll do in a pinch. In that case, I would record those as one stereo track, both microphones. So I can turn on more inputs because I have up to 12 inputs on this. But what I basically have is 4 microphone inputs and then 8 line inputs. Okay, so I don't want to turn all those on because I don't need them right now. I don't think there's any harm in turning them all on. The difference would be that it makes this list here a little more cumbersome. See, right now all I see is my 2 mic inputs and my 1 stereo input. If I turned a bunch more stuff on there, then I would have a bunch more stuff in that list that I don't need. Because really all I'm recording right now in my home studio is stuff where I need 1 or 2 microphones. So I'm going to leave those other ones off for now. So my microphone, and right now the microphone I'm using is this one that I had the pop filter on my desk. This is a good vocal microphone. This is a Shure SM58, if you want to look that up. It's kind of the standard vocal microphone that you use for everything. Not everything, but it's been around forever. It's super reliable. It's, if you were to like ask a kid to draw a picture of a microphone, this is the microphone they draw a picture of. It's, kind of the most standard one. So this microphone is going through an XLR cable into my Apogee Quartet, which is my audio interface. And that is plugged in through I think it's a USB cable, but it's a USB 3 cable, so it's very fast, into my computer. So that's why it's showing up here. And then my speakers are also plugged into my Quartet, which is why it says audio output device Quartet. You might have it set to built-in output. This gives me some other stuff. I have 3 displays hooked to my computer, which have a little speaker built in. I don't want to use it because it's not very high quality. I also have this Pro Tools thing in here that thinks it has a speaker built in, but it doesn't really. Don't worry about that. Quartet is what I want, right? Because that's where my speakers are plugged in. Okay, now let's talk about some of this other stuff. Our sampling rate. So the sampling rate is how many little tiny pictures of the sound per second are we going to capture. Okay, this is a fairly complicated concept. So you might think you want that as high as possible to get the highest quality, 192,000. Not necessarily. 44,100 samples per second is the standard, what we call CD audio. So if you got a compact disc, if you bought something on a CD, that's the sampling rate all of that sound is running at. It's pretty good. We can record higher or lower. My audio interface isn't going to let me record lower than that. 48 is what's standard on a DVD these days. And we could go all the way up. We could double it. We could go to 88.2, 96,000. Here's where you're going to have, well, you're going to have diminishing returns anywhere above 48,000. You're going to start recording really big audio files, and they're not going to sound noticeably better than 44.1. You know, they might sound a little bit better. However, the opposite side of that argument is that recording something at a higher sampling rate and then reducing the sampling rate to something lower can be done quite easily. Recording something at a lower sampling rate and converting it to a higher sampling rate after it's recorded is no bueno. We don't want to do that because we're then asking the computer to guess. And guessing for a computer is not good. It means that there will be glitches and bad things that occur. So we can't go higher, but we can go lower. So that says you should record at a higher sampling rate because you can always record it down. I like sitting at 48,000 for what I do. If I was recording like a lot of string instruments, like an orchestra, I might go 88.2. I don't think I've ever recorded at 96 or above. So I'm going to set mine to 48,000. Okay. So that should be good for now. So let's close that. Now let's check that we're getting a signal in from our microphone. So I'm going to go to an audio track. I'm going to set external in because my microphone is an external thing, right? It's coming from outside of the software. Then I'm going to set what microphone we're looking for. And we can see here what's coming in. We can see that there's nothing coming in on channel 2 because I don't have a microphone plugged into it. Channel 1, there is something coming in. And the stereo pair, something is coming in on channel 1, but not 2. So I don't want to use stereo. I want to use mono. Okay, so I can arm this to record and see what's happening. You can see my signal coming in here and it's grayed out. That's because the monitor mode is set to off. So I think I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here. What this tells me right now is that signal is coming into this channel. I can see it here and I can see it here because I've armed it to record by hitting this button. This is the arm to record. We're not recording. It just means we're ready to record. And when we do record, we're going to record on this track. That's what that red button means. So we need to talk about monitor modes. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about microphones. So let's put a little pause on monitor modes and let's talk about microphones for a minute.